Once upon a time there was a mug. It was quite an adventurous mug, not particularly beautiful, yet very well informed. White or blue and somehow weirdly shaped so that only one finger could fit into its handle. Rumor has it that it was the most average mug of all time, and often questions arose. Does the tea or the coffee out of this very average mug actually taste good? It was the classic big event mug for gas station coffee and herbal tea. Some might wonder, is it a mug or a cup? Every day, this very average yet special mug would be used and filled with, yes, this specific community often seems to have a lack of sleep, coffee or black tea. Slowly, the mood of the day was formed by this average mug. Next to a bowl of porridge, little conversations would take place. Conversations about dishes that were not cleaned, fridges that smell, butter that tastes like garlic, how long people stayed up last night and why, the temperature of the fjord when people dipped into it in the morning. There was very little that the mug had not heard yet. Usually, it would be shoved into a hot box, squeezed between other mugs, and hot water would try to wash everything off. Quite a horrible way to start the day. Sometimes, though, the mug would get lucky, and one of the yippies would come too late to breakfast and take the mug outside. Here in Sweden, we don't see the sun very much, but imagine how little sun this mug has gotten. Very exciting. Thus the journey starts, and it makes its way to the hive. The hive seems to be the building where all those weird yippies would sit in circles and hold space for each other, talk only with talking pieces, and harvest everything a sticky note can handle, if it matters or not. There was a rule within this hive, which says that there are no open cups allowed, hence only the very rebellious or very thirsty ones take the average mug into the hive. One day, the mug made it all the way to the hive and was forgotten by the group. It would sit on the windowsill as many yippies passed it, too lazy to bring it back to its peers to Almendinen, where it lived. This led to the mug becoming the most educated mug that one can imagine. It learned about all of the issues and realities of the world. It heard biographies, singing, crying, doors slamming, and laughter. It had the chance to go through the many seasons of this community, movements in the group dynamic, surprises of some hidden talents, trials and tribulations, love and compassion, everything that life has to offer. It learned about warm and cold money, war and conflict, restorative justice, and even the nature of the economy. The absurdity of GDP being the measurement of this world, the struggle of ownership. Often, the mug could feel the stress of walking the line between hopelessness and frustration, and seeing the small things one could do to make a difference. What is the truth, and how do we even know what the truth is? Philosophical conversations about perception and experience. Unsettling courses and courses that calm the soul from the pain of the world and put the focus on the beautiful things. The possibility to cross differences through stories and to build bridges through dialogue and active listening. One day, a brave yippie noticed our mug sitting on the windowsill and shoved it into their bag with the intention to bring it back to Almendinen. But instead, the journey continued. It made its way from the hive to the laundry house, to then go all the way to Talavana. The blue house where all the yippies live, packed tightly like sardines in a can. There, our mug was parked in the kitchen, next to the sink, without being washed, obviously. Here, it overheard many different chats and conversations.
So what made you decide to get a yip?
What are your hopes to learn for the future?
How's yip life for you?
Sometimes, it couldn't really understand much since the bass of the music was just too loud. Those yippies really need to release some energy, it thought to itself. Weirdly enough, all of them would afterwards squeeze into the tiny kitchen. The question still remains in the mug. Why do the best conversations always happen in the kitchen? For many of the yippies, big questions about life inspired them to come to Yip. A need for community, not feeling nurtured by the education previously received, and the social and emotional skills that those 10 months would give to them. Building real connections in order to tackle this crisis of relation that we are facing in this world. And by listening to all their nice conversations, the mug noticed that each one of the yippies was learning, through one way or another, exactly what they signed up for. How to deal with too many dirty dishes, to feel hurt or annoyed, too little space or too much space, even falling in love. The courses seemed to give them seed for thought. However, the real and raw learning happened outside of the lecture, when all of those yippies must digest all of the new information and experience they have gained. Some people start baking the best cakes to process. Others go for hour-long runs, and some just need to sleep. Being in community means to learn how to embrace diversity in all its shapes and forms. The mug was quite touched and moved by this realization. One of its favorite things to think about was to imagine all of those yippies out in the world, finding their place and carrying everything they learned here next to the fjord and the forest in their hearts. The mug suddenly turned all sentimental and nostalgic. There was a little tear mixed with Earl Grey rolling down the outside of the mug, making those beautiful round stains on the table. At last, it was time for our average mug to go back to its mug community in Almundinen. Back home, all those very ordinary mugs had lots to share with each other. In the mug world, it would have probably been in their kitchen, and I wonder if we will ever find out if there was a talking piece involved or not. Those mugs carry a deep wisdom and knowledge about many Yip generations now. Who would have thought that those ordinary mugs have such big eyes and ears?